lights. Hey, we're back. So first off, I'm playing a guitar we just got in. This is a 1959 Custom Shop 335, and it's rather pretty, don't you think? And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm running through humbucking pickups on this, which is a Magnatone. And as I've said before, if you want a really good amp, an amp that responds to your touch, an amp that has headroom, which means it cleans up when you play light, breaks up when you play heavy, you want a hand-wired amp. Your voltage is carried from circuit to circuit better. A hand-wired amp is a better amp. And it's not just because it was done by hand, dude. It was because the components are better, they're bigger, they're not miniaturized and point-to-point on a breadboard, especially from a company that knows how to make amplifiers like Magnatone. Magnatone has a history, and here's a 1965 Magnatone, and this will be coming up for sale pretty soon, but this is a nice, clean example. The Magnatone has been around even in the 50s. And the people that own Magnatone right now are really nice people, and they have the help of Jeff Beck, and Billy Gibbons is integral to the sound and design of Magnatone, and I think they actually own a piece of the company, which wouldn't surprise me. So this Magnatone Super 15 is, if you've ever gone out looking for a small wattage vintage Marshall, and they made a lot of 100 watts and 50 watts, this is a 15 watt master volume Marshall sounding amplifier, and that's kind of how it was designed. So I'm going to show you kind of the chassis of this here. If you can see, it is on this, and you have a presence control, bass control, mid control, and you can scoop out your mids for more of a Fender sound, treble, master volume, and of course your gain volume. But more importantly is underneath here, you can use a headphone jack, and it has a dummy load, so you can actually run a line out to your computer and run a dummy load. You should put it on 8 ohms. It's all self-described here. But a headphone jack patch loop is kind of a handy thing to have on a 15 watt amplifier. And I don't know too many other hand-wired tube amps that have a headphone jack, and it actually provides a dummy load. So you can run this amp without a speaker cabinet, and it won't harm it. Now, normally, there's an amp pushing all that voltage. You can picture a garden hose going through, and all that voltage goes out, and if it doesn't have a place to go, it comes back into the amp, and that creates heat, and that heat will actually do damage to the amp, especially over time. Now, otherwise, it's fairly simple, lightweight. All these Magnatones come with a really nice cover. That's part of the setup for the amp. And then this one, of course, has a pretty wicked gain on here. I'm going to take it off standby. Yeah, you already know it's good. And putting all the tone controls about midway, the presence control gives you that real crystal high end. So you get a really good Marshall. Now the gain's all the way up. Now the master, you're working the power tubes. In here are 2 EL84 power tubes. And again, if you've always looked for a hand-wired Marshall, and you're probably wondering why Marshall, who's owned by Korg, which is a giant corporation, doesn't make a good hand-wired amp, they just don't get the sales. They're so focused on cheap amplifiers and price point, where Magnatone is not focused on price point. This amplifier is about $2,500 bucks. I think it's $2,599 for this amplifier, and it is a very much a Marshall type of sound that you can use headphones on. right there, I'm going to let the microphone settle down. Right there, I was on about 2. It has plenty of power for most of the clubs most people play at, yet it will go down to living room volume levels. So it's a really fun amplifier. The Magnatone Twilighter, single 12, 25 watts. The Magnatone Super 15, 15 watts, both hand wired. One is clean, luscious, with lots of effects. The other is a basic rock machine, hand wired, just like old Marshalls that you would be chasing. It's just a fantastic A/B circuit, all tube. There's nothing digital on these. This is a completely analog, high grade, the highest grade amplifier you can get. So these are both in, and you can come in and see this this gorgeous museum piece too. There you go. That's all I got for now. See ya.